I've been doing this for a long time at that point, but having Dolly sort of take me under her wing and bring me along for the ride and actually kind of give me an education, that I needed desperately.
Hmm.
Because she knows how to deal with the high pressure of what it is to be Dolly Parton. I can't. I mean, it's something to behold.
Welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party, your weekly musical happy hour where musicians pick an album from their back catalog and tell the stories behind their favorite tracks in front of a live online audience.
This week, we talk with Americana singer-songwriter Mindy Smith. We revisit her 2012 self-titled album, talk about getting over stage fright, and getting to meet and work with her sheroes like Dolly Parton, Grant and Emmylou Harris. So pour a beverage, grab a snack, and kick back as we listen to music together here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, where it's always Friday and old albums never sounded better. All right. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today we have joining us from her home in Nashville, Mindy Smith.
Hello.
All right. And
Nice.
Connie is joining us from Richfield. Hi, Connie.
Hey, Connie.
And if you're tuned in, let us know where you are tuned in from, if you're enjoying a happy hour beverage, because this is what we do to kick off our weekend. And Tony, I heard you just got back from a trip playing Bluegrass Festival, and I wonder if you brought back a special beverage from your trip.
I did. I was in the beautiful state of Wisconsin, our neighbors here in the north, and have one of their new Glarus Spotted Cow beverages in my Back Catalog Listening Party pint glass.
Oh, very nice.
And it's cool and refreshing, and you can only get this beer in Wisconsin. So every time I go over, I have to bring a little bit back.
Yeah, that sounds wise. I have nothing that's specific to where I was. I just got back from a trip to Vermont and the mountains, but I am just enjoying a nice, refreshing gin and tonic. But not from Vermont specifically. No agave from Vermont. But Mindy, are you enjoying any kind of snack or beverage?
Yes, I just got back from my kitchen. I'm having just a little spritzer.
Nice.
With some orange. Have you guys ever had the Spindrift?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
those
do
are
that
good.
with a little bit, just a spritzer.
Excellent.
Nice.
Well, cheers to you, Mindy, and you,
Cheers.
Ellen, and all of you out there. Like Ellen said, if you're out there, let us know where you are, if you're enjoying a beverage today. And if you're new to the program, this is our weekly musical happy hour where we get together with our favorite artists and we listen to an album from their back catalog and we nerd out about the songwriting and the recording and all of those types of things. So if you have questions throughout the hour, definitely throw them into the real-time comments, and we'll try to get to all of them before the end of the show.
That's right. And very excited to have Mindy Smith on the show. I've been a fan for a long time, and we are going to revisit her self-titled album today on the show. But before we dig into the record, Mindy, maybe give a little brief origin story, where you grew up and how you fell into making music and where this album fits into that.
Well, okay. I'm from Long Island, New York. Grew up on the island and moved to Nashville some time ago. I've been here since 1998. I found my way here. And, just doing the ride, doing the roll, hanging, from my origin stories are just, one of those typical came here with $300 in my pocket, and a dream. But so I started writing and, eventually, I'm able to still keep doing, the music and all that. But yeah, I grew up in Long Island, New York, where my mom was a choir director. My dad was a minister. I'm a PK.
Nice. And were you writing and playing music from an early age? Was that something you've always done?
I didn't. Yeah, I actually started singing when I was very, very young. My mom was a vocalist and choir director, so I was always exposed to music, and singing was just something I loved. I loved, taking on the harmonies, and it eventually, evolved and developed into, as an adult, I'm like, maybe I should, if I want to sing, do this for a gig, I probably need to have some original songs. And so that required me to learn how to play guitar. And funny fact is that early on when I lived in Knoxville, I would go to the writers' nights and I would just get up on the stage and just hold my guitar and then sing a cappella because I was so afraid to play it in front of people.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. But
Yeah,
you did it. You got up there.
Yeah, I was basically given an ultimatum to either start playing it. You got to play. It was a good one though. It was love, encouragement with love in a firm hand, if you will.
Nice. Well, you eventually put them together, and we're so happy about that.
Thank you. Yeah. Eventually, correct. That's right.
And sometimes people's first albums are their self-titled albums, but this one we're going to be chatting about today actually came out in 2012, so it's came out a little bit later. Tell us where this fits into your discography.
Well, this record, the reason with self-titled record was because it's the first album I released independently. And I while I was always, very grateful to have the help of a label like Vanguard during the time, but there was a shift, and I sort of wanted to have ownership of the music, and partnering with TVX Group. They were able to, help me make that happen, and we worked together to create an album. And so I felt like my coming out sort of party, if you will, as a, independent artist. So it felt right to do it, self-titled.
Excellent.
Self-titled.
Yeah. And so how many did you have before this one? Was it like 3 or 4? How many?
Yeah. So there was three full length. And then just a holiday record that I'd done.
Nice.
Yeah. The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes. Every season, every holiday season, I bet.
That's right. Well, we are very excited to dig into this record. Again, this album, Mindy Smith, came out in 2012. And we're going to dig into this first track. Before we do, want to say hi to Joe, tuning in from steamy Minneapolis. Yes,
Hey,
it is
Joe.
hot here tonight. And it feels like a storm's a brewing. So this is a great time to cozy up to the computer or get your headphones on and join us for this listening party. We're really excited about this. So this first track that you picked to feature on today's show is called Closer. Is there anything you want to say about it before we take a listen?
I think it could be fun to kind of maybe chat about it after we listen to it. Just kind of get things rolling.
Yeah, I like that. All right, we're going to get the party started here with Closer from Mindy Smith on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
The water is deep and the river wide. Face to the wind against the tide. This boat is small and the night is black. The storm is raging but I won't turn back to the shallows where I ran aground. In the muck, the mire, the shame and doubt, and all the lies that they ever told. I'll be damned if the devil's gonna sink my soul. I'm getting close, closer. I can almost touch the North Star. I'm getting close, closer. This little boat's the hand of God. The water is deep and the river wide. There's a forge light burning on the other side. I can hear my name sung sweet and low. The voice of my mother calling me home. Beyond the limits of my mortal mind. But grace abounds and love is blind. And these old boats are gonna disappear. With the hate, the worry, all my fears.
Yeah.
All right. Now that's how you start a show and an album too. That's the first track from the record, right? So that's what opens up the album.
That is, I was like, every time I hear that, I'm reminded to take a dig and take a good listen to Joe Pisapia play that solo part. Is just like,
Oh,
holy, he's just amazing.
yeah.
This
So-
what an epic tune. I mean, there's so much going on. There's so much I wanna talk about, but I'm just already struck by how good it sounds. We can get into the details of that later. But because you're with two banjo players, having a first track come out with a little banjo in it just warms our hearts. Who was that playing the banjo?
I'm trying to actually.
Was
I
that
don't.
Brian Sutton by
It
chance?
may have been Brian. It may have been Brian. I have my notes here because I was trying to read my eyes. I evidently have bad eyes. I didn't know this until recently. So write it all out. And for some reason, I haven't it may have been Brian. There's so many great string players in this particular group of musicians
Could
that
have been any of them.
it could have been any of them.
Well,
I
I
mean,
happen
they're
to
all
see that
so
he was in
good.
the liner notes, and I know he does studio work, and sometimes we'll play some banjo. So
I'm sure, and Brian is just, they're all so well-rounded. I mean, every single one of them. Unfortunately, I don't have that one thing, the most important thing on your podcast to know about.
the liner notes. Well, actually, some folks from your camp sent that along. So while you guys chat, I'm going to pull up the liner notes, and I'll be able to tell you who's playing on
Excellent.
which track. So.
Yeah. So, but tell us about, again, the guitar, like this arrangement. Was this, when you first wrote the song, was this kind of what you envisioned, or did this just totally take shape in the studio?
Well, I wrote the song with an amazing songwriter named Phil Madera. He does a lot of really great, sort of Americana's type music. He does a lot of blues and jazz, and he tours a lot with Emmylou Harris. I don't know if you've ever heard of her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard of her. Yeah.
But with the organic approach, that we took, Jason Lenning is the producer on this record, and we went into the studio with this amazing band. This is how I like to sort of lay it down. An album is just to have everybody just play to their gifts, and see what happens, and what unfolds. So I think a lot of that has to do with the producer choosing the players, who they're gonna, who's gonna play what and what they're gonna bring to the table, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see it unfold.
Yeah.
Piggybacking on Ellen's question there, like that lick, that that whole thing starts with it. I also had that same question. I guess, is that something that you might bring to the table? Like, hey, I think we should have this kind of lick, or I wrote it on my guitar, or is that something where that kind of came with the production of the?
Yeah, so that's an important. I'm not I wouldn't call myself a guitar player, but that is definitely part of the guitar part as we wrote the song. So it's part of the actual song that was written.
Nice.
And so then to hand that over to these incredible players, it just it's like
That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was Brian on banjo. I just looked it up. He played
excellent.
acoustic guitars, mandolin, and banjo on that track.
What? That's crazy.
I know, it's crazy.
Well, we got a question from Joe about the lyrical content of the song. He was asking if this was a particular time of your life when change had to happen. Because I definitely can hear why he would ask that question in the lyrics.
Well, I think so. I think just sort of trusting, in the new path that I was going on. I think that probably definitely had a lot to do with writing this particular song. And finding the guidance in the places that I lean on, which is, I'm sorry, there's like a fly in here making an appearance. I don't know what to do about it. But yes, I would think that, there was a lot of changes going on. We're always going through changes, and I process life by writing about it. So, that's, definitely sort of part of that. And the fly, I'm sorry about the fly. We're just going to have to.
I love the fly. That's part of
it's
a
real
live
life.
interview.
It's
Yes.
real. Thanks for the question, Joe. I hope I answered it.
Well, maybe can I ask, like, was there, because this was your self-titled, which it's you're putting your name on it's your independent release. Did the songs that you chose, did they reflect more of a personal thing than other albums, or was there any kind of thing that did you look at that going into this record, like I'm going to make this one more personal than other records or anything like that?
I would not. Well, yeah, I think so. But I think all my records have a very personal approach to them. The cool thing about this record, though, was that there sort of is a collection of songs over a course of several years. So when I wrote, for example, we'll be listening to a few songs that I'd written many years prior and sort of worked on. They've evolved, even still evolving, to this day. I think some of the songs were just sort of part of the journey that, of life and presenting, the questions that I'm always asking and trying to get answer out of it by writing about it. Some of them are just silly songs, fun songs, that, because I enjoy singing, not only sad songs, believe it or not. It's hard to believe, I know. But yeah, I would definitely say some of the songs on here are very personal, and processing, being, just being a grown up and aren't we all just trying to
Yeah.
still, I'm
I'm still working on it.
See, I'm at a certain age where you'd think I'd have it figured out, but I guess I'm a believer. If I ever figure it out, what the heck will I write about, kind of thing. Yeah.
I think it's only the young that think they have it figured out, doesn't it?
Yeah. To be young.
True that. Well, if any of you out there have any comments or questions for Mindy as we go along today, please feel free to throw them in the live chat. Again, we're talking with Mindy Smith about her 2012 self-titled album. And we're going to get to another track here. And this is Pretending the Stars. Is there anything you want to say about this before we listen together?
This was a fun one. I love to write with a gentleman named Daniel Tashin. I love singing with him and I love writing with him. And this is one of the songs we chased together. And it's sort of like my version of wishing I were Dolly Parton singing with Kenny Rogers type of song.
Excellent. Let's give it a spin. This is Mindy Smith, Pretending the Stars, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Baby, what you think about stepping out, going for a ride and shaking up this town? We could put the top down and feel the wind go wild underneath the moon with the radio on. We could drive around until they play that song. Islands in the stream, that's what sky would fall if we ever gave up this love, pretending to stars, beautiful stars, beautiful.
A fade out. I love it.
Right,
I
yeah,
do too.
you gotta go with the fade out once in a while.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I
And
like to imagine that people just kept playing for another 20
yeah,
minutes.
that's
right?
what I'm
Yeah,
imagining.
it's fun because when you're in the studio with those guys, it's fun to watch them just like going with it. It really is cool. It's cool.
And earlier you were talking about how much you love getting these folks together and seeing what they'll do. Were you able to record a lot of this live together?
Oh, right. Yeah. So most all of the actually all of the tracks were recorded over a course of a few days,
Mm.
live with the band. So they write their charts out. They've got these Nashville charts. I don't know if you're familiar. There's
Yeah.
something I can't read them, but
Roman numerals.
yeah. Mhm.
That's the
It
way to
really
go.
is. It's something to behold. And then they hear the song and you can see the machine going in their mind and because it's usually just guitar, me playing the guitar and probably in this case it was me and Daniel singing together. Um, I love Daniel because the thing about writing with Daniel is it's fun to try to you know write a song where you don't really know what the melody is. Both parts could be a harmony,
Mhm.
hmm
and that's sort of a fun way to write with him because it seems like we're both very harmony driven people. So
So you could pick either one. And
mhm.
the Back Catalog Listening Party is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Supporting the show with small and large donations every month, this committed group of music lovers keep the party going and enjoy special perks like getting first look at our upcoming guests and invitations to private after parties and live stream performances with the artists. If you'd like to learn how you can become a patron of the show, please visit patreon.com/Back Catalog Listening Party.
Yeah, it's so interesting. You mentioned that kind of at the top of the show when you were talking about how, you obviously come to this as a singer and you love singing harmonies, but being a solo singer-songwriter, you don't get as many opportunities to sing the harmony as you do the melody. So I would imagine getting singers into the studio is always a treat.
Mhm.
Are you doing any of the harmony vocals on this album, or is it mainly other musicians you brought in to sing with you?
On this particular album.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I do some harmonies. I
Mhm.
think there's maybe one or two songs where I've sung some mostly just to sort of knock it out. But there's a couple songs actually on this record that I've had some of my favorite singers that I love to sing with. Sarah Siskin being one of them, and Julie Lee sang.
Mm.
They both sang their harmonies on this, and um, it's fun to get different vocals, to sort of give it a different kind of vibe and tone. See what they'll
Mhm.
bring to it.
Yeah, you mentioned that word vibe a couple times, and it makes me wonder about. I know you brought in these musicians to do their thing, right? They're talented, they can do their thing. But do you have kind of vibes or like directions, even if it's not like technical musical stuff? Do you say
Mhm.
like I'm just looking for this or I'm looking for that? Like what is your process like? How are you interacting with kind of the production of a record like this?
I tend to be very hands on with uh, you know the production side of it. If I hear how I think something needs to sound, even though I may sound silly saying it the way I say it, it usually comes across. They usually are able to sort of figure out what I'm trying to say. Um, but it's fun to work with a producer or get in a room with a producer that you have a good relationship with and are able to sort of, lean on to speak the language, if you will, of the
Mhm.
players. But I am, I have also been a very hands-on, actually co-produced a number of my albums. Um, but from the standpoint of, the technical terms that, spewing off, most people would be like, what? I think I get what you're saying.
That's not uncommon, actually. Over the course of 200 some episodes, we've heard that quite a bit, right, Ellen? I mean,
Yeah.
turn up that part needs a little more purple, and yeah, just I'm feeling just a little more jazz hands on that section.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I also think it's a testament to not just your vision, but also working with the people that understand and communicate and translate that
Mm.
to the rest of the musicians as well. So, well, all I have to say is this album sounds so good. And if you're enjoying these tracks the way you're enjoying them now on the podcast, you'll like them even more when you get the high res files.
That's for
Mindy
sure.
says she still has some physical copies at mindysmithmusic.com. So you can order them directly from her. And also, of course, you can get the high res files as well on all the digital places. But yeah, sounds super good. And when you go to mindysmith.com, she has a whole store there. But I just want to point out while we're looking back, because that's what we do at the back catalog listening party, that she's celebrating the 20th anniversary of One Moment More, which was her big breakout album. And there's vinyl copies of that.
Nice.
And it's also the 15th anniversary of my favorite breakup album, Stupid Love. So there's a lot of opportunities to celebrate Mindy Smith's back catalog at mindysmith.com. And I think there's something new coming out, right?
Yes, I have a new album coming out. Finally, it's been a journey. Nielsen Hubbard produced it. He's a spectacular artistic mind, if you will. And some of the players that you've just heard are on. Well, Lex Price is on this. Plays on a lot of my stuff, and it's just been. I'm very excited about it. Very excited. It's called
There.
Quiet Town, and it'll be out October 4th. So, and
And
Quiet Town, the single's out right now if you want to check it out.
yes, it's really good, folks, and it's also being put out by our friends at Compass Records. Many
Nice.
albums we've revisited here in the back catalog have come courtesy of them. So you can check it out. You can pre-order the album at Mindy Smith Music.
I mean, and look at the purple. Look at the
Look at
purple
that.
vinyl.
Yeah, just talking about the
that
purple.
alone
Yeah.
should be
Look
a
at
good
that,
reason
folks.
to get it.
If you're watching the video version of this, we're looking at some beautiful purple vinyl. We have a nice preview of the record on her homepage. So again, mindysmithmusic.com. Head on over there, pick it up, because buying a record from an artist is the number one way to tell them how much you appreciate what they do.
Mhm.
I mean, they get the most back from, monetarily, but it also says, hey, I love this music so much. I want to own it and have it in my house. And I want to hear the high resolution version of it. I mean, the record we're listening to today sounds, like Ellen said, so good. I saw it was recorded in the Sound Emporium. We're talking top-notch studio, top-notch musicians, top-notch songwriting. And, when we listen to it in YouTube and the streaming platforms, we're just getting like a percentage of what the experience really is. And I mean, I'm a little biased as a kind of a music nerd, but I think if nothing else, support Mindy with your with your wallet, but also you're gonna really love putting on some headphones or some nice speakers and listening to this in stereo.
Oh, for sure. And if you have comments or questions for Mindy as we go today, feel free to throw them in the live chat. And Lynn joining us, she says,
Hey,
hello
Lynn.
from another Long Island girl.
Hi, Long Island.
So
Hello
yeah,
to everybody.
Long Island, I should have said. Yeah, my bad.
Great to see you, Lynn.
Yeah, great to have you here. And we're so excited to have Mindy Smith here. If you just joined the party, this is the show where we invite some of our favorite artists to revisit their old records. And today, Mindy Smith is revisiting her 2012 self-titled album. And as you can tell from the quality of both the songs and the production, this was not her first rodeo. And it sounds for an album that might be, you were talking about as your coming out album because, it was your first independently released album, kind of where you were really holding the reins to everything. But I have to say, it feels like, I don't know. It feels like you are just coming into your own because it feels so, I don't know, so confident and well-rounded. So,
Well, thank you.
And I have a question kind of along the lines of this being your first independent release. Were there things in the past when you were working with, a label or something that you couldn't do that you were able to
Mhm.
do with this recording? Like was there anything that you tried that you wouldn't have tried before? I'm just curious as an independent release after a few major label releases.
I have to say, I've been pretty spoiled with being able to sort of, choose what I want the music to say and do. I've been really fortunate. I can't say that I can't speak for other artists, but in terms of like being sort of encouraged even to
Hmm.
sort of, you know, just be an artist. There's my little friend. That something I intentionally, made certain decisions in terms of work, who I worked with, and as far as labels go, and Vanguard, and then working with TVX Group, and even publishers, just to be able to have that freedom.
Excellent.
So I'm very fortunate to be able to report to you that I'm a little bit spoiled in that department.
That's great. That's great. I mean, that really isn't always the case. We've heard from other
Mm.
artists over the course of our show here that sometimes there's some restraints, and that's fantastic.
Yeah. Or expectations that they,
Hmm.
feel the need to go against sometimes. Well, we want to get to as many songs as we can from this album today. And the next song you picked to feature on tonight's show is Tin Can. Is there anything you want to say about this?
This song has been through it. It has. I wrote this song years and years ago, back when I was working. I was still doing sort of like the writers' round scene at like 12th and Porter, and you know the drill. There's some classic places here, like Broken Spoke days back in early days. And I wrote this. It was a picking song.
Hmm.
And so I had it down. I was like, I thought I was so cool playing this picking song, this bluesy picking song. And the whole idea for writing it was I was trying to see what it was like to write a song that maybe could have been written a long, long time ago, with the energy of the sort of thinking about, kicking a tin can down the road, or, the things, that imagery like that. But years later, I thought I had it down with this picking part, and I was invited to do uh, an event called Picks and Paws with Emmylou Harris at the
Hmm.
Ryman, and Patty Griffin, heroes, okay, and Paula Cole, like the
Wow.
the elite. And I was new. I was like the new girl, and I'd never played the Ryman before. So combined with all of that, I had worked on this song. I thought I had it down, and I got up there and I froze.
Oh.
I could not remember how to play it. Suffice it to say, I ever since then I could never get back to playing it the way I wrote it. So it's seen a lot of transitions. It's seen a lot of rhythmic transitions, and so this was one of the evolutions of its life cycle. On this version you're hearing now, till now, I still play it different. It's got its own life.
So I'm just curious, how did you get through that moment in the on the Ryman stage?
It's a funny story. So I had my longtime buddy Lex was playing with me, and so I thought, okay, I'll start. I started over three times at the Ryman, and I couldn't do it. And I look back at him. He's like, I don't know what you're doing wrong. I can't help you. So anyway, I wound up playing a different song, and I got through it. It was one of those things you have to get
Yeah.
through. You have
Yeah.
to just move forward. It's not the end of the world. It's not gonna, it is what it is. It's a story for people to tell from.
Right.
down
And
the
I'm sure
road.
people remember all the other songs you sang and they don't even remember that,
Yeah.
that had
Well, and I
happened.
love it when they do remember because it is fun. It's funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but it's
No.
funny, and you get through it.
Right.
Life is like that.
It sure is. Well, let's give it a spin. This is Tin Can from Mindy Smith here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Lately, I'm kicking this tin can, rusty old tin can, so empty and free. Now, baby, that coffee was long gone, like you, You left me. I ain't got your sugar, I ain't got your cream, just this rusty old tin can and me. Lately, I'm watching your apples, riding old apples just fall from your tree. And baby, that sweetness was long gone, like you, You left me. I ain't got your sugar, I ain't got your cream, just these rotten old apples and me, just this rusty old tin can and me. Lately, I won't cry no more sad tears for you, 'cause for you, honey, I let them leave. Now, baby, that heartache was long gone, like you, You left me. I ain't got your sugar, I ain't got your cream, I'm just a happy old fool, set free. I ain't got your sugar, no, I ain't got your cream, I'm just a happy old fool, set free. See the rotten old apples and me. She's a rusty old tin can and
All right.
That's a steady hand with that shaker at the
I
end.
love
I
it.
love that. Yeah.
Before the song, I was going to ask what your definition of a pickin' song is, but now I don't have to ask.
Yeah,
I
you
got
don't
it.
need to ask that.
Yeah.
That's definitely a pickin' song.
Picking
And
and grinning.
it has a
That's
real
right.
nice country blues vibe to it. And
Mhm.
I'd be curious now. I feel like I need to see you live again so I can hear. I don't know if it's currently in your set list, but I want to know how you're playing it now, because you said this song has had so many different lives and versions
Works.
done.
When I know, you'll know.
I love it. Well, I love the version we just heard. Really, really great stuff, and you really sing the hell out of it. With again leading into sort of that country blues
Mhm.
vibe. And I'd be curious, growing up in Long Island and up north, did you listen to a lot of that style of music or country music? What were you listening to in addition to probably some church stuff?
Well, I mean, I think I didn't start listening to like the real bluesy, country, yeah, bluegrass, all
Mhm.
that stuff till I moved to Knoxville. But when I was growing up, we did listen to John Denver in Long Island. I mean, there wasn't a lot. We
Yeah.
didn't have country stations or anything really that I
Mhm.
was aware of growing up. But I'm mostly listening to like pop,
Mhm.
like the Police, and I was one of those kids. I was into the radios, Cyndi Lauper's and
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. But I think one of the major artists that I did listen to that was a big influence on me in terms of acoustically driven songs would be Amy Grant. She was a big influence on me, and I love her to death. I get to call her a friend. She's the sweetest person I've ever met. But she was a major. I didn't know girls played guitars and wrote songs. I didn't know that. I didn't have anything to go on, but other than her. So
yeah, that's
cool.
Wonderful. That's great. And Lynn said sheroes there in the comments. And Kashimana, one of our past guests, says lovely song. And Joe had a great question, which seems appropriate after this tune, because this one sounded jaunty, but there's some heartbreak seeping through. And he said, "What do you think of this description of one of your YouTubes? A good rule of thumb when going to a Mindy Smith concert: bring a hanky, a tissue, or an extra sleeve. Your tear ducts don't know the difference between laughing tears and crying tears, and you'll likely be doing both." So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I sing my songs, and people, they're sort of very raw, if you will, exposed and vulnerable, and then I sort of, have to make ease attention, and I wind up saying something. I'm like, oh Lord, what did I say tonight? Every single time I get home, I'm like, what did I say this time or that? But I'm a Gemini. What can I say?
Well, I love that. And Natalie Nowitzki, also a great singer, says, also always cool when one of your influences becomes one of your friends. Love that. And that's really true. And especially, I'm guessing in a town like Nashville, that happens a little bit more, just because there's probably so many heroes and sheroes that live in the proximity.
It's an embarrassment of riches. But when I do, I still get the shy bug. I still get the sort of, oh my gosh, you rocked my world for so long. I don't even know how to behave. I do get like that. It seems to them, it seems weird that, like the other day I was driving and I saw one of my, like you said, sheroes walking, and I just wanted to roll down the window and say, you hear this, but I was with Heather, and she goes, you should say something. I said, she doesn't want to hear from me. She didn't want to hear from me, but I still wish I had rolled down the window and told her she was a goat.
Yeah. Well, I remember reading somewhere, and it's certainly probably how a lot of people first maybe got to know your music, was a cover you did of Jolene, Dolly Parton's song. And you mentioned Dolly Parton earlier, and she gave it such high praise. I can only imagine what that must have been like when she was like, "Oh, I want to sing it with her." I mean, I would have died.
I still can't believe it happened. But no, yeah, whatever turn of events, singing that song became sort of, a launching, a place to jump off from. I've been doing this for a long time at that point, but having Dolly sort of take me under her wing and bring me along for the ride, and actually kind of give me an education, that I needed desperately. Because she knows how to deal with the high pressure of what it is to be Dolly Parton. I can't. I mean, it's something to behold, to be in her presence. But I remember the first time I met Dolly, I didn't know I was meeting Dolly that day, thanks to Steve Buckingham. He said, come to the studio, we're going to play the song so you can hear the final mix. And I was like, okay. Well, I didn't know. I was pretty much in my PJs when I turned up. I had no idea. And I'm sitting in the room, and in walks Dolly Parton. And she goes, well, honey, you ain't but just a minute. And then I didn't know what to say to her. So I actually sat there and watched her listen to the song for the first time. She didn't know what song it was. She kind of did one of these like, what is it? It was Jolene, but she didn't know because the arrangement was so different.
Wow.
And the only thing I could think to say to her was, you have really high heels on. And she said, well, honey, she said, even my slippers are stilettos. Makes sense.
Well, I
Wow.
love that. And it's one thing to just meet Dolly when you weren't expecting it, but then to have her listen to your cover of one of her iconic songs.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, I would. But
Yeah.
hey, she obviously loved it, and your story went on from there. But so cool, so cool. If you just joined us here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, we're talking with Mindy Smith from her home in Nashville, and we've been revisiting some of her back catalog, her 2012 self-titled album, which is available at mindysmithmusic.com. So if you're enjoying the tunes, you should definitely get yourself a copy. But before we jump into the next song from the album, I want to take this opportunity to thank our Patreon supporters. These are the folks that have kept this show going for the last 4 years, and
200 plus episodes.
Wow.
and it have enabled us to chat with so many people. Not Dolly yet, but it's coming, folks. Penny, Anna, Linda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead, Pick and Parlor, Severin, Lynn, Mary, Many Tracks, Nikki, Joni, David, CJ, Wiley, Stephanie, Christy, Diane, Hetty, Sandy, and maybe you. And I should say, Sandy just came on board in the last week as a new Patreon supporter. So thank
Welcome,
you, Sandy. And if you would like to join this mighty crew, you can get invited to the live tapings and be a part of the conversation with our guests. And we also have other special events, after parties, and such. And you can get the Back Catalog Listening Party Founders Pint Glass
While supplies last.
So you can be styling in whatever beverage you are enjoying when you listen to the show. But let's try and squeeze in as much as we can from this album. Mindy, this next song you picked is Cure for Love. Is there anything you want to say about it?
This was me wishing in an alternate universe that I would get a Sarah Vaughan cut, but she's no longer with us, but she's my favorite vocalist of all time. And so I wanted to write a song sort of dreaming what it would be like to write a song that Sarah Vaughan might cut. And I don't know if this would be it, but in my mind, this is what it would have sounded like if she would have cut one of my songs, but she didn't because she's not with us anymore, but she is with us with her iconic catalog to listen to.
That's right. And we're going to hear her influence on Mindy Smith right now. This is Cure for Love on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
It's the kind of love, a disease of the heart you try to overcome, but I ain't got a cure for loving you. It's that sort of thing, poison in my mind. Try to understand, I ain't got a cure for loving you. Don't get me wrong, 'cause I don't want one. Don't call for the doctor, he ain't got one. All I need is to be quarantined. I got my lover's spell on me, yes. It's the kind of pain keeping me from sleeping right, keeping me up all night, and I ain't got a cure cure for loving you. Don't get me wrong, 'cause I don't want one. Don't call for the doctor, honey, he ain't got one. All I need is to be quarantined. I got my lover's spell on me. Yes, I ain't got a cure for love. I don't need a cure for love. Honey, I don't want a cure for love. It's the kind of love, a disease of the heart you try to overcome, but I ain't got a cure for loving you. Honey, I ain't got a cure for loving you.
Mm.
All right. Now I wish I could have heard Sarah Vaughan sing that, because it certainly
was-
sounded awesome having you sing it, Mindy.
I could just like in my dream, it would have been in my dreams. In my dreams. She's
Oh,
the
that was
best.
beautiful. I
Beautiful.
love the production on it. It sounded like a classic old jazz recording. It really
Yeah.
captured that sound.
Yeah, Natalie says, beautiful, got some nice Vaughn intervals. That's right. It does. Like you were definitely
Well, I
writing
definitely
her.
differently than I imagine she would have done. But I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta dream a little bit. Even if you can't get it, it's impossible to get. You could still try.
That's
Mhm.
right. Well, beautiful song. This whole record has been so great. I just want to take a moment to look at that cover.
Sure.
And this kind of great collage of stuff.
Mhm.
There's like, an actual camera, not a digital one. That's a film camera of some kind. And a handprint. I don't know what else is
That's
going
my
on there.
handprint. That's
Oh,
when
right.
I was 5 years old.
Wow.
That's my little
Aw.
handprint. And the sad thing is it's red, so it looks like a look. I don't know why I picked the color red, because if you didn't know that was, you know, it could be like a horror movie, but no, that's really my hands, and that's a painting I did behind. It's all my stuff. I was kind of going through a collecting things kind of stage in my life.
Wow.
I've stopped, but
I love the
was-
color palette. It's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
that's what I was really thinking of, and it has this vintage quality, and that's why I wanted to bring it up after that Sarah Vaughan inspired song. Is like there's a feeling of kind of nostalgia a little bit with the
Mhm.
the baby handprint and the
Film camera.
old fashioned camera and all of that. So really, really neat stuff. The Back Catalog Listening Party is brought to you by EFS Publicity. Founded by veteran publicist, promoter, DJ, and musician Ellen Stanley, EFS brings an artist's perspective to the table, working to help clients get to the next level in their career. Services include national and international media campaigns, radio promotions, tour press, crowdfunding, grant writing, and more. Get a quote or set up a consultation today at efspublicity.com. Again, it's your handprints literally are all over this album, this independently released album. Again, it came out in 2012. It's called Mindy Smith. So if you're liking the music you're hearing, go find it, get the high-res files, buy the physical copy from mindysmithmusic.com. And when you're there, you can pick up the vinyl version of One Moment More, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary. Such a great record. The 15th anniversary of Stupid Love. And you can pre-order the new record as well. So lots happening if you go to mindysmithmusic.com. And
if I could just jump in there, the artist who did the artwork for that, her name's Fairlight Hubbard, and she actually is tremendous at what she does. She has done most of the photographs of me over the last several years, and she did the video for The Closer on this as well. She's tremendous, so I have to give her a shout out.
Right on. Well, we'll make sure to link to her in our show notes. If you're listening to the podcast version of this, if you want to see the picture of the album cover and you want to get all the notes from this wonderful episode with Mindy, you can just go to backcataloglisteningparty.com.
And Joni asks, is Quiet Time, which is the new record about to come out, also independent or a different label? And yes, it's on Compass Records, so an independent label run by Alison Brown, one of our favorite banjo players, right, Tony?
That's right. Just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing woman.
So, well, we're going to, I think if you're up for it, Mindy, do you want to try and squeeze in this last song?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Thank you again. And yes, I'm so excited about the new record and to share new music. But I can tell you a little bit about this song. I wrote it a long time ago.
I love that. That's the best intro yet. A long time ago. Sometimes that's all you have to say.
I think it's one of the earliest songs I've ever written in my lifetime. So this is a very young me writer. Sort of just
when you made that handprint, right? 5 years old.
Could you imagine? That would have been something. They would have thought differently of me as a child. They would have thought I was a lot more useful. But yes, it's sort of about putting yourself in someone else's shoes, type yada yada business. But yeah, it's one of the earliest songs I've written. So
all right,
that's that.
And one of the shorter titles we've had here on the program. This is If I from Mindy Smith on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
If I were you for only a day, if I walked in your shoes for even an hour, I'd see through your eyes the dark night open wide, and I'd be through time 1,000 years gone by. If I were you and you were me, could I make you see that you and you were always meant to be? And I give my heart out, I pour my love down this stream of no guarantees, as you lead me on through the wildest storms. I feel your arms carry me. If surreal. I feel the end as things I've seen through time can end. So I give my heart out and I pour my love down this stream of no guarantees as you lead me on through the wildest storms. I feel your arms carry me. Then I give my heart out and I pour my love down this stream of no guarantees as you lead me on through the wildest storm. I feel your arms carry me. If I
Oh, so beautiful. That is Mindy Smith with If I. Not only the final song we're going to be featuring on today's episode of Back Catalog Listening Party, but also the song that ends the album. And it's a beautiful closer. And you mentioned this is one of the oldest songs you've written. Joni had one last lingering question, which I think is a good one. Do you put older written songs on new albums? For instance, do you collect songs and wait for them to have a home? Or, how did this one end up on this album?
Yeah, this was one I'd always wanted to put on an album. I'd written it around the same time I wrote my song One Moment More was when I first came to Nashville. It just didn't have, I hadn't found the right place for it. And the sweetest thing about this particular recording is, if memory serves me correct, Brian Sutton played acoustic on it. And this is a live, like, vocal, everything is, nothing's been sort of like dubbed or anything like that. It was a very emotional song to sing. It always has been. I think it's one of my early soul searching songs. Yeah.
Just beautiful stuff. It was Brian. I peeked at the notes.
And
And
that
Joe was
electric
on
guitar.
electric guitar.
Yeah. Oh, so good. And some of those bassier notes just really carried through some of that emotion in that tune. So beautiful stuff. Well, this has been such an amazing hour with you, Mindy. Mindy Smith, our guest today on the Back Catalog Listening Party, joining us from her home in Nashville to revisit her 2012 album, which you can find at mindysmithmusic.com, along with her new album and all the albums in between and that came before. Such a treat. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. And I've had a great time.
Really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm really looking forward to the new record coming out in October of this year, which is 2024. I'm
so excited.
It's really
time.
It's time. Well, we can't wait for it to become Back Catalog so we can enjoy it here on the show. Thanks to all of you for joining us on today's episode. And again, if you ever want to revisit this episode, we, in addition to archiving it on all the places you're enjoying it right now, we also archive them at backcataloglisteningparty.com, where you can also join our Patreon and get invited to live tapings. But thank you for being a part of the party.
Yeah, we sure appreciate
thank you, everybody.
All right, until next week, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you back here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.